Sophie's unforgettable journey through Riley's mind. One quiet evening, 10-year-old Sophie was watching Inside Out for what felt like the 100th time. She adored the world of emotions that lived inside Riley's head, from joy's endless optimism to sadness's heart-tugging honesty. But tonight, something strange happened. As Sophie leaned in to watch the scene where joy and sadness worked together, her TV flickered and a golden light burst from the screen. Before Sophie could react, she felt herself being pulled in. When the light faded, she was no longer in her room. She stood in a dazzling, glowing world. Around her were colorful orbs, shimmering pathways, and towering islands floating in the distance. She gasped. "Where am I?" she asked aloud. "Headquarters," came an excited voice. Sophie turned to see Joy beaming at her. "Welcome. Riley's emotions could use some extra help today." "Wait, this is Riley's mind?" Sophie stammered. Joy nodded. "We've got a situation. Riley's core memories have been scattered into the mind maze, and we need to get them back fast." Sophie took a deep breath, determined. "Okay, tell me what to do." Joy clapped her hands. "Follow me." As Sophie followed Joy into the mind maze, she met the other emotions along the way. Sadness trailed behind, dragging her blanket. "It's all my fault," she sniffled. "I tripped and the memories rolled away." "Not helpful, Sadness," anger grumbled, tiny flames flickering on his head. Disgust rolled her eyes. "Let's just get this over with. Mind mazes are so gross." Fear peeked out from behind a corner. Are we sure this is safe?" he squeaked. Sophie smiled. "Don't worry, Fear, I've got this." The mind maze was a giant labyrinth with shimmering walls that shifted constantly. The corridors were filled with fragments of Riley's thoughts, half-forgotten jokes, old-school assignments, and even memories of her childhood toys. Sophie marveled at the strange but beautiful world. Their first challenge came when they found one of the memory orbs locked inside a glittering chamber. On the wall, a riddle appeared. What gets smaller as it spreads? "That's easy," Sophie said confidently. "It's a smile." The chamber opened and Joy quickly grabbed the orb, hugging it like a treasure. As they moved deeper into the maze, things got trickier. At one point, a fiery chasm blocked their way. "Leave this to me," Anger said, stomping forward. His fiery temper created a bridge of molten lava, and the group quickly crossed. In another corridor, shadowy figures appeared, and Fear froze in terror. "This is it, we're done for," he wailed. But Sophie took his hand and gently led him through, reassuring him that the shadows were only Riley's forgotten worries. Finally, they reached the maze's center. The last core memory floated on a pedestal, surrounded by sticky green goo. Disgust gagged. No way am I stepping in that," she said, turning away. Sophie, however, didn't hesitate. She carefully stepped through the goo, retrieving the orb with a triumphant smile. As she turned back, the maze around them began to dissolve, its walls fading into glittering light. Back in headquarters, Sophie watched as Joy placed the recovered core memories back into the hub. The islands of Riley's personality lit up one by one. Family Island, Goofball Island, Hockey Island, all glowing brightly again. "You saved the day, Sophie," Joy said, hugging her tightly. The other emotions cheered, well, most of them. Sadness still sniffled. As a thank you, Joy handed Sophie a glowing memory orb of her own. When Sophie looked inside, she saw images of her adventure, complete with all the friends she'd made along the way. Before she knew it, Sophie was back in her room. The movie paused on her screen. She clutched the glowing orb in her hands and whispered, "Best night ever." As she snuggled under her blanket, Sophie closed her eyes, dreaming of the incredible journey she'd taken through Riley's mind and wondering if another adventure might be just around the corner.